Hello, I'm Freddie DeMarco for American Musical Supply, and I'm going to show you how to restring your guitar. This video will focus on traditional Fender, Gibson, and acoustic type guitars. There are more elaborate tuning systems that we'll cover in another video. For all intents and purposes, we're going to talk about restringing the most typical types. I recommend picking up a pair of needle nose pliers to help get the pegs out of the acoustic, a pair of wire cutters, of course, to cut the strings, and to really make life easier, a peg winder to wrap the strings. The first step would be to remove the strings. So I'm going to loosen the strings with the peg winder, then with the wire cutters, cut the string, and remove the string from the post up by the headstock. The other half of the string needs to be removed from the bridge. Now some Fenders are rear loaded like this one, so the string goes through the back of the body. So we're going to push it back through and then remove the second half of the string. For a Gibson style guitar, cut the string, remove it from the headstock, and then you have to remove the second half of the string through the tail piece of this guitar. To remove a string from an acoustic guitar, make that same cut and remove the string from the post. Then use needle nose pliers and a piece of cloth and pull the peg out. You're using the cloth so you don't damage the peg. Then remove the string. To put a string on a Fender that needs to be rear loaded, go through the back of the guitar with the string, insert the string through the bridge saddle, then pull it through, being careful not to crease the string. Next, guide the string through the hole just like I'm doing here. Pull the string all the way through, and then we want to measure or eye out about 2 inches past the post. Now you'll get used to this as you practice. And then we'll cut the string right there. This will ideally give us about 2 to 4 wraps around the post, depending on your string gauge. On this Fender style headstock, I'm going to wind so that the string winds counterclockwise directly down the post. And be careful not to let the string bunch up. It should wind down the post. And this is a little tricky. Notice, my right hand's holding the string as my left hand is actually winding. You'll get used to this with practice. Now the A string will be exactly the same way as the E string. However, the D, G, B, and E strings all have string trees that the string must go under. So the string is going under the string trees and then the same wrapping procedure. Now for the Gibson style, we will go through the tail piece with the string, being careful not to crease the string. And notice I'm doing one string at a time. I'm not taking off all the strings. If you take them all off, the tail piece can slide off the body of the Gibson. Same wrapping, counterclockwise. So these first 3 strings, the low E, A, and D, will all go counterclockwise like the Fender style. However, the G string needs to wrap the other way, clockwise. Notice it's going from the inside to the outside. I go about 1/8 of an inch past the post before I start wrapping. The B and the E strings need to be wound the same direction as this G string. Make sure you're lining up your strings into the grooves on the bridge saddles. For an acoustic guitar, put the ball end of the string into the hole, then push the peg through, hold the peg, and pull the string taut. You may have to watch the peg as you're winding and hold it in from time to time, as they do have a tendency to pop out. Winding on an acoustic guitar will be the same as the Gibson style. So just like the Gibson, the G, B, and E strings need to be wound clockwise. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this can be a little bit tricky, so just keep watching the video, make sure you're doing everything right, and with practice, you'll get this. The last step would be stretching the strings, so as you tune them up, stretch them, and then keep retuning and stretching, sometimes up to 5 times a string, until they stay in tune. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget to check out the American Musical Supply website at americanmusical.com.